0.3% over the month. Adelaide showing the strongest yearly gain at 9.4%. And international martial arts star Conor McGregor has lost his appeal against his conviction for sexual assault. sen.com.au Sport is next. Well, the Giants' up-and-down form has continued, embarrassed by the Dogs last night to the tune of 88 points. Coach Adam Kingsley says they were just smashed at the coalface.
We were belted in the contest, plain and simple. I think maybe minus 51. Wow, can't really compete when you're getting belted like that.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Good morning, wherever you may be, right around the country, 8:04am, and hello to you. This is Giddy Up for Gareth Hall. Miles Pfitzner filling in for him, and it's never ordinary when it's brought to you by Bet365. Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Friday the 1st of August, pinch and a punch for the first day of the month and the first day of the new racing season. There's something about this day. I don't know why. I feel like the spring's knocking on our door. The better horses returning. We're seeing a lot of the trials are starting to hot up. The trainers are getting excited. The owners are getting excited. We've got racing awards right around the country. It's a beautiful time of the year. Still cold and still dark in the morning, which we don't love, but trainers and jockeys have to deal with that day in, day out anyway. Hey, great show we've got lined up for you on a Friday up until 10:30. Very shortly, Cam Luke to join me. We're going to talk about the doggies last night. Because we don't often get to talk about them beating a top 8 side. We are going to talk futures, a couple of Cam's lists, horses he wants to have a look at. It's one of the best futures punters we have here at SEN Track, if not right around the country. So we'll have a chat to him. After 8:30, we're going to grab Michael Hickmott. He's got a very good hand of runners at Murray Bridge on Saturday, and he's also got motor race up there at the Darwin Cup, which I'll be flying up for tomorrow morning. And I wanted to have a good chat to him. He's always a good chat. Around 8:45, Carl de Croo, he's the Brisbane Race Club CEO, to talk about the premiership battle. And then not long after him, Angela Jones will join us after her season win, the first female to win the Queensland Jockeys Premiership. So it's a great effort for Angela. After about 9:15, Nick Ashman, Heath Pope, Andrew O'Toole, Pete Anthonys, Bag of Tips, of course. Then I've got a little special for you at the end of the show. A guy I grew up with and a good friend of mine. Some people might know if you're watchers of the ABC. He's also a journalist on the ABC. His name is Charles Bryce. He broke his neck in a motorbike accident many years ago and became a quadriplegic. He's riding his bike, or with his hands, from Sydney to Perth to raise money for spinal cord research. So we're going to have a chat to Charles a little bit later on. That kicks off on Monday. So we'll do our best to maybe tip in, because spinal cord research, and especially with what we deal with racing, They do go hand in hand, especially with what we've seen from spinal injuries in the past and which unfortunately we will see going on into the future. So make sure you're joining us just after 10 o'clock. I thought I'd change it up and try to do something good to round out the week. If you're in Sydney, it's 8.6 at the moment, max of 15. Melbourne, 3.3. You're freezing your backside off, max of 14. Brisbane, 13.6 with a max of 20. Perth, only 7.5, max of 21. Adelaide's 5 and Hobart's 3. They've got a max of 15 and 13 respectively. Canberra is actually warmer than Melbourne right now, believe that or not, with a forecast of 13. And in Darwin, looking forward to that, it's currently 24 degrees with a max of 33 degrees. Now, lastly, before I welcome in Cam, don't forget our $100 staking plans, our $100 staking plans. So, look, get creative. Get creative. I don't mind a double. Or something at double figure odds, 50 each way, but don't give me 100 a place on something at $1.40 or $1.50. I mean, we're not paying that. Something that we'd play the music for would be great. 0499 736 736. I'll read a few of them out a bit later in the show. As I welcome in, well, he's SEN Track Zone. He's the lifeblood of this joint. If Tags is a captain, well, this man is the coach, the president, and the chairman. I speak of Cam Luke, and he joins me. Hello, Cam.
Hello, buddy. How you doing?
I'm very well this morning. Very well. Very well. Hey,
congratulations on the same game multi, mate. I tell you what, out of everything you do right now, punting wise, and I know winter is a little less for you as you do rightfully point out a fair bit. Your same game multis right now, pretty easy to watch last night. Lockie Whitfield sat on the bench for a little while, but scooped an extra positive late. So you just continue to roll on through and just keeping the punters with their head above water, even if it's not a balaclava on a Wednesday afternoon.
That's exactly right. Hey, speaking of the footy, we may as well touch on it. And I was a bit tongue-in-cheek off the top, but your doggies were very, very good. And Louis' doggies were very, very good last night. Did you watch the game?
I did. I went along, and I'll tell you what happened. I went to see somebody, a great mate of mine. His son was playing Auskick at halftime, so I went to see him before the game. Ducked out, quickly caught up with him. By the time I'd got to my viewing spot, the Dogs had kicked 3 goals, and the game was essentially done. I've never seen less intensity in a major game from 2 good football teams. And when I say good football teams, I'm not suggesting they're 2 teams I expect playoff in a grand final, but have been built up. The Giants have been in really good form, had that huge win last week. That second half was outstanding. And it was a Dogs grand final to some regards, knowing they almost have to run the table, which is very possible, by the way. So I was expecting a bit of higher intensity. I haven't seen the stats. I'm not a big stats guy, Miles, as you know, but I don't reckon there would have been 50 tackles in this game. It was, you know, we've heard the term bruise-free footy before about games that are essentially dead rubbers, but for a game of that ilk, I expected it to be a little more higher intensity. The Giants were just belted. The Dogs were brilliant out of the middle. Marcus Bontempelli was best on the ground, I think. I know the big key forwards kicked 5 apiece and were brilliant again, but I thought Marcus Bontempelli, when the game was somewhat hot, was the best player on the ground. And for Dogs fans everywhere, they get to start to get a little bit excited, because I think it'll come down to that last game against Fremantle, which will be on the Sunday night of round 24, and it might be a win and you're in game. So Forget having to introduce a wild card game, Miles. We might actually see it as we did last year. Again, funnily enough, involving Fremantle. Plus
50 odd for contested possession. That doesn't normally happen too often. It was a really drubbing of the highest order.
Look, I don't know if there's much in this, but I think the fact that Toby Green wasn't there from a leadership perspective. No, Josh Kelly, obviously. Buckley's a huge out, but Buckley wouldn't have made a monstrous amount of difference last night, because the amount of supply inside 50, it would just been weight of numbers. Now, Buckley clearly is a unbelievably high-grade, A-grade defender. So, and there's no doubt it hurts, and maybe Norton and Darcy wouldn't have kicked 5 each. It might have been subdued a little bit, but the result wouldn't have been any different. It might have just been 60 points rather than 15 goals.
Yeah. It's anyway, they look good. Sort of Louis was up and about. Wasn't his chest out when I rolled in this morning?
Good on him.
Look, I may have labelled them front runners, and he gave me the side. He gave me the side eye when I said front runners.
Look. I'm not a monstrous flat track bully front runner terminology type of guy, because all that, I believe, means you just beat the teams you're meant to beat. You're just not quite at the top of the game. I think the Dogs are 7th, 8th, 9th best team in the league. I don't think the personnel defensively. Now, last night was a bit different because your midfield has to belt the other team to take a lot of pressure off your defenders, and that's in any team. I just still think defender-wise, they're probably one big wrestler down back. They got some intercept. Lob was good last night. I think our man Scoob Jr., I think he's an intercept third man up defender, and I think he's really good at that. So I think that you can probably look at it and go, you know what? Can they win a final? Absolutely. I don't think they can win a flag. But, yeah, I think from a Dogs perspective, it was good to beat a team above them because, as you alluded to, it hasn't happened much this year.
Hey, let's get stuck into some of the horses. We're right around the corner. We had Kangaroo yesterday to discuss essentially what Caulfield and the MRC are doing, and didn't that take off? A lot of people are pretty happy about that the prices to getting into the races are dropped. We're going to be out on track doing a fair bit of it, and you'll be front and centre of that, of course. I had a big trainer day yesterday, Cam, where I asked especially about a lot of the juveniles, and fascinating when you really go back through a list of horses that we're yet to have back at the races. I think this could be one of the better years we've had probably in the last 4 or 5. In regards to the Spring Carnival. We've sort of had areas where, in my opinion, that the races have been strong, but other areas where they've been pretty weak. But I think we've got stars right across the page coming back this spring. Is that how you're seeing it?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I think this is something that I speak a lot about in the world of racing. In fact, probably in the world of sport, okay? So what happens is we look at a particular crop and then we start to compare it to something in the past. Oh, back in 05, this crop was... Everything's relative. It only needs to matter and what's happening at the time. You only have to beat who you're running against. And you also need to just focus on what is going on. And I thought this about last year's 2-year-old crop. I heard you talking to Wayne Hawkes earlier in the week about this. And the general consensus was that the 2-year-old crop, which they've now finished, they're now 3-year-olds. Happy birthday to all horses. The fact is that everyone's like, it's pretty weak, it's not as strong. But I thought it was one of the most intriguing 2-year-old seasons we've had in a long period of time. We had all different 2-year-olds win the major races. We're talking a lot about who would be the 2-year-old horse of the year. We're trying to take it in different avenues. Are you a tempted fan who ran better without winning one of them? Are you a nepotism person? Are you there's a million different ways to look at it. And I think this is what this season entails. So we have the 2-year-olds turning into 3-year-olds. We have no clear standout, but we have maybe 6 or 8 horses that we could look at with a fair bit of excitement towards, say, a Caulfield Guineas or even a Coolmore down the straight. We've got a Wait for Age crew that is clearly headlined by Via Sistina, but on the back of that, we've got horses who, be it, is it the Treasure of the Moment? Is it the Chow Wolf who I think you could find excuses for in the autumn? Are there some internationals rolling on in? So I think that there's a little bit there. Our staying ranks feel a little bit deeper. I'm not saying incredibly deep, but a little deeper, in particular a Caulfield Cup, which I think's got better in the last 3 or 4 years. I think we've seen our best Caulfield Cup fields for, probably 15 or 20 years. So when it comes to the excitement, we don't need to say, but geez, back in 1991, we had like 8 of these legends. It's like, I'm not disagreeing any of that. And I'm not saying that all these horses in 20 years' time are going to be talked up as some of the greatest of all time. But from a punting perspective, and from a pure racing perspective, I think we've got a lot of bases covered to have intriguing racing. So, outside of Via Sistina, who I'm assuming is going to probably start relatively short, in particular the Maccabi Diva in the Turnbull, because I think the Winx, you probably remember this more than I would, but I reckon she started $10 or $11 last year. First up, went up the inside and won, and it kind of slapped us in the face, and then we kind of didn't know where she sat market-wise. As that weird, Via Sistina is a perfect example. First up, we're like, too short, can't win. Went up the inside, belted them. Went to Melbourne and Maccabi Diva, got back through the Razoo, was no good on that wet track when Chris Waller told us she'd be better on the wet track. We didn't know how to look at her towards a Turnbull. She ends up coming out and winning that. Then the Cox Plate fiasco happened. So there are situations that I think add to so much of the narrative, and she was a part of it last year. And I think we're getting a lot in all different races, all different age limits, and all different avenues to these races into the new season. Yeah,
I'm as excited about a season that I can remember, I think. And that's where I think we've got the stars, like you and I have had the chats around Treasure the Moment, Aliana, Lady Shenandoah. But then you go back, one of the fascinating ones is going to be the Caulfield Guineas. So, I'm looking at the 11th of October. You want to go through here, there'd be 8 or 9 horses in this field that I'd go,
100%.
I'm in love with. Nepotism, Autumn Boy,
Yep.
Beedman,
Yep.
which you don't hear Peter Snowden say yesterday, I'm trying to keep my feet on the ground with a horse like this.
Yeah.
Tempted, Woderton, Cool Archie, Raging Force, Rivellino, Tentress, Within the Law, Mahuna, Devil Knight, State Visit. Like, that's a very, very, very... That's as good as I've seen that in years, in my opinion.
It's unreal. And I'm with you. And the fact is, yes, there may not be yet any out-and-out superstar. And like traditionally at this time of year, we're talking about, last year was broadsiding. Everything was about broadsiding. How's he going to go? He comes off that J.J. Atkins. He wins the Golden Rose. He started pretty early, pretty short on a Caulfield Guineas. Did the track play well? The rest of it. But it kind of... Everything was geared towards what broadsiding can do and if a Cox plate on the back. Now, this year, by the time we get the Caulfield Guineas, and there'll be some natural attrition there, but we'll have 5 or 6 different horses that I think we're like, hang on, unless a nepotism comes out and wins a Golden Rose by 8 lengths, which won't happen, we're going to see a pretty good market and a punting perspective if you're that way inclined.
Very competitive.
And if you're a really hardcore racing fan, which I'll talk for you and I, Miles, we are. It's not always massively about the punt. The fact is we're going to see a race, a competitive race that means we're going to see 6, 7 horses go into that race hoping that they can stand up and win a Group 1. And in some regards, in a lot of regards, sometimes all the regard, a stallion-making race. So I'm with you. And I think that 2-year-old crop that a lot of people kind of, where we sit here on the 2-year-olds, I think that leads a lot of intrigue. And I don't think Cool Archie's going to go there. I think he's going to be weighted and maybe have a easier spring and head towards the Sydney Autumn. But I hope I'm wrong because then that gives a much different... He's a star, that horse. He's a possible star for what he did in the Queensland Winter. So hopefully he goes there and it gives us another different form reference as well, which I think adds to it.
I'm licking my lips with these. Now, I want to get stuck into some of the future bets that we were dreaming up that we could get a market for, and also some horses to maybe pick up for the spring. But yeah, even you can grab any of these future races. So even have a look at the Epsom. The market for the Epsoms: Autumn Glow, Lady Shenandoah, Aliana, Another Will, Gringotts, Linebacker, Chowolf, Evaporate, Lazura, Steffi Magnetica, Swift Falcon, Tom Kitten, Willie Do It, Angel Capital. I mean, I think this could be as good a sort of standout or competitiveness spring we've had for some time, and that's going to be Sydney and Melbourne.
And I mean this. I mean this with some respect to the Epsom, which is a great race, and it's probably been overtaken by, the Everest most certainly is the jewel of that Sydney Spring now. But we probably haven't been as excited for the Epsom in recent years. This is amazing. And the hardest job any person's got in racing right now is Chris Waller trying to deal with 2 different sets of connections with Lady Shenandoah and Autumn Glow and trying to find a way to keep them all happy and also try and find the right races for 2 very talented now 4-year-old mares. But so I like that. That Epsom's going to give us more excitement than it has in previous years, no doubt.
Let's talk about the 4-year-old mares on the other side of a break. We'll get our first break out of the way. Cam Luke joins me this morning. We're just taking a bit of a look forward at what we're looking at. Horses we're excited to see. Cam, I'm loving his 4-year-old mares play. We'll talk about that in a minute. Maybe a James McDonald call and a couple of horses. One certainly that Cam and I agree on. We might chat about on the other side of this. This is Giddy Up for Gareth Hall, Miles Pfitzner and Cam Luke with you for Bet365. It's never ordinary. When it's brought to you by Bet365, imagine what you could be buying instead.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back. This is Giddy Up, Miles Pfitzner with you. I'm joined by SEN Track's own, the superstar Cam Luke, as we turn our attention forward and having a look at what maybe might, or what we're thinking might, or horses that we like leading forward and through the spring. Cam, I do love, we were talking about one of the posts or predictions that went up earlier, but if we could get a market for Treasure the Moment, Autumn Glow, Lady Shenandoah and Aliana all to win a Group 1 for the spring, that'd be handy, wouldn't it? We got Cam.
Season.
Oh, sorry, have I got you, mate?
You got me?
Yeah, got you now. Loud and clear. Yeah.
It's for the entire season, not just the spring.
For the season.
They'll all win a Group 1. They're all stars. And you know what? They may all win one in the spring. I would love Bet365 to come to the fore on a couple of these bets, actually. Hence why I put it out there last week where I thought, hey, you know what? If I can entice a bookmaker, I'm not asking for millions. I said, if you multi them all up, all 5 of them, which is out there on our socials, then I'll put a $100 max bet and away we go, because I like to put my money where my mouth is. But they'll all win Group 1s, Miles. And look, Aliana's probably the 1.5 mile horse, even though she can win at shorter. She's probably a Caulfield Cup type horse. Treasure the Moment, I think, is a mile to 2,000. Lady Shenandoah is probably the 12 to the 16, which includes a Golden Eagle, and probably Autumn Glow's the same. But we haven't always seen 3-year-old fillies turn into superstar 4-year-old mares, Miles. But you talk about the intrigue earlier. They're 4 girls who look like they're ready to go and be able to do wonderful things, of which 3 of them already have. Like Lady Shenandoah's already won an open age Group 1. Aliana and Treasure the Moment come back on the autumns as stars, and Autumn Glow's had her injury issues, but everything she has done, she's done the correct way, and every question she's been asked, she's answered.
It's going to be fascinating to see what they do with Treasure the Moment, whether you see Treasure the Moment meet Via Sistina, or whether you see Treasure the Moment meet some of these other horses, and whether or not they cross. But I mean, I'd love to see.
Just on that, Miles, the Yulong situation's so interesting, isn't it? And Via Sistina, the thing is they don't have to chase value, but also they like the fact that they probably don't want Via Sistina and Treasure the Moment going hard up against each other in a Cox plate. But I think that the situation actually calls for it. I think Treasure the Moment, if she comes back, she's improved as a 4-year-old mare, she has to have a crack at a Cox plate, because I think the 2,000 metres is right in her wheelhouse.
And with your thinking, are you thinking more Aliana sort of Caulfield Cup? Because I'd love to see Aliana in like a Metropolitan. I think Aliana will smack him in a Metro.
Well, I think she's the 1.5 miles out of this. I thought, and I think she's going to get stronger. We've seen her grow and get bigger and stronger. That Derby win was huge. I think we were at Caulfield that day, actually, and I liked her. She was my best of the day, and she beat them fairly comfortably. Now, I'm not suggesting that because you win a Derby as a 3-year-old, you turn into a 1.5 mile horse. We've seen a lot of class horses win certain races, and I think possibly Treasure the Moment might be like that. I don't think she's just an absolute A grade. I wouldn't back or suggest Treasure the Moment would be a Caulfield Cup horse. But the 2,000 metres suits her. But Aliana won, I think, like a stayer, a 1.5 mile girl. And you're right, that 2,500, I think she can be an absolute top liner.
I want to talk about one other one here before we get on to maybe another horse that we haven't mentioned yet. But James McDonald, you mentioned to break Ollie's Group 1 record on or before Champions Day. It'd be fascinating if we could get a market for that.
I've been on this. I had this as a prediction at the start of the year. He's a freak. And Tags and I had some really good conversations off air. He rang me straight away when I made this prediction and said, yeah, map it. And I said, look, sit down and work it out. Sit down and work it out. This guy is doing stuff we don't traditionally see. He got a little added advantage. When I made the prediction earlier in the year, I figured he'd be able to go international and win some of these Group 1s, and he did that. I think he needs 11. He missed a lot of last year early in the spring with that injury. So it is Via Sistina. He's on Lady. He's on some of these horses now. He's going to have to make decisions at some point. But because it's James McDonald, he's allowed a little more leniency until he actually has to make the crux, rather than a jockey having to be on at the start of a campaign to keep these great rides. He doesn't have to be, or he can be. So And I think, geez, imagine that. Imagine we got to Oaks Day. He's 127 miles or 128, and we've got Champions Day, and he is a champion. No one's disputing that. He's going to go past Ollie sooner rather than later, and I have a feeling there's a chance if he gains. Keeping in mind, by the time we get to Champions Day, Via Sistina might have won 4 Group 1s. He might be into 120 just on Via Sistina. Now, the Wing Stakes is one thing. I'm not certain I'd want to back her in a Wing Stakes, but a Mackay Diva at Turnbull and then a Cox Plate, of which she'll be all a short price favourite right about now. Next thing you know, he's into 122, 123, and then you're sort of having to pick off a couple of these other ones on the sly. So, again, a lot of feedback led by our man, Captain Tags. But when you sit down and break it down, it's not as ridiculous to suggest that J-Mac could ride 11. There's 20. I worked out there's 26 Group 1s he can ride in because there are Group 1s in Melbourne and Sydney. So, obviously, he can't ride in both, clearly. But I think there's 26 he viably could ride in. If he wins 11 of them, it happens.
Hey, I want to talk to you about 2 horses, and you've been generous with your time with me, mate. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
Zardozi is one that you've always had in the back of your mind. There's another horse that you and I have both aligned on that we are expecting bigger and better things from, and that is Middle Earth. How are you seeing these horses?
So this time last year, I was heavily involved in Zardozi. I had been since before the Oaks the year before, and everyone who listened will know that I thought she could run a huge Melbourne Cup, and in all honesty, she did. She ran 4th in a Melbourne Cup and half looked like the winner at the 300. At Middle Earth, I backed before he ran at a Royal Ascot, and I thought this is a Caulfield Cup horse. So I'd backed them both. I'd had futures going in, and Middle Earth didn't work out. And Zardozi ran really well. They're not my major bets for this year's races. Middle Earth, I think, just needs a mile and a half as an A grade, like an absolute A grader. And the Caulfield Cup's getting stronger, but I think I have backed him again, not as heavily as I did last year. But I think he's going to be perfect. He's perfectly poised as a mile and a half. And Zardozi is now in the Kieran Maher stable. She's a 5-year-old mare, so she's going to get stronger. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Zardozi, and again, nowhere near I did 12 months ago, but she loves Flemington. She's with the Maher stable. She's going to improve. And I'm not saying Kieran Maher is a better trainer than James Cummings or vice versa, but he has had more success with stayers and his ability to be able to get them to peak. Like we've seen him, Persan ran 4th or 5th in a Melbourne Cup, had been up since March. Like he's a freak. So do I think Zardozi is going to run a really good Melbourne Cup? You don't need to be incredibly deep in with our staying ranks we've touched on. Relentless Voyage is my bigger bet in a Melbourne Cup, but I think Middle Earth will be there when the whips are cracking. Look what happened last year with Duke de Sessa. Miles, yeah. It's a similar type situation. Took a little time to acclimatise to Australia, and I think he'll be better for it in the spring. So I expect Middle Earth and Zardozi both to run pretty big races wherever they set, Caulfield Cup and Melbourne Cup. But Relentless Voyager is my bigger Melbourne Cup bet, and Gay Waterhouse and Adrian Bott obviously know a hell of a lot. By a hell of a lot, I mean infinity more than I do. But I think Sir Delius is a Caulfield Cup horse, and that's who my bigger bet is in the Caulfield Cup now. I'm
liking the way you're looking. It's just fascinating to see the hand that Kieran's got when you look at Zardozi, Middle Earth, Duke de Sessa, and then we're forgetting a horse here called Light Infantryman, this horse could do anything. He's always had that. You've almost gone, is a penny going to drop? And you go back and go, yeah, he's won a couple of Group 1s. Like, that this horse could do anything. It's going to be a very, very fascinating spring. Hey, mate, we could talk, you and I could talk horses all day. I'm going to try to get something off the ground where we talk, we start going through and working our way through the Group 1s ahead. But appreciate you jumping on this morning. Are you up to much today? You on dad duties today?
I'm on dag duty. I was actually meant to be on trackside at a last-minute replacement for Campbell Brown, who took a cashy to go play for the Wagga Wagga or East Wagga Wagga Hawks. But I've actually just double-booked myself, so I'm just trying to work out. I'm halfway through the form for today, and I'm going to try and work it out. So between dad duties and maybe trackside, and I've thrown Bryce, our main man, a little a curly one just only about half hour ago. So work it out. But of course, good racing tomorrow. Again, this time of year, it's not exactly filled, and although we're close, as you touched on, to the Group 1 horses, but there's some nice ones tomorrow that I'm trying to work my way through and see where we kind of sit for Saturday trackside. So
huge watch a few tomorrow. Huge watch.
All right. I like Stylish. I just don't like the gate. So I got to make a decision in the next little while if I'm actually going to follow and back Stylish. But we'll sort of see, and we'll find our way through it. Hey, show sounding great, mate. Really, really good. And I don't even have to listen. I can just jump on Gareth's Instagram or Twitter because he's reposting everything that goes up. So
fascinating. Not much of his holiday, like on the Insta. I would have thought there'd be a bit more of the scenery and whatever. There's none of that.
Yeah. I know. Well, maybe he hasn't got someone with him to take photos of him, so it's a little harder.
Yeah, it's
maybe he does, but he's just choosing not to do it. Who knows? Hey, Miles, keep killing it, brother. We'll talk over the weekend. Thanks for the opportunity.
Appreciate it. Cam Luke there, absolute ripper. Make sure you go check him. Like some of his prediction stuff, he's already done a list of horses that'll win the spring. He did a list yesterday. Fascinating. He's very, very good at it. Very, very good at it. What we're going to do, we're going to jump to the news. Carl de Crew to join me. We've swapped them around. Michael's just galloping motor race. So we'll get Michael leading up towards 9 o'clock. But Carl de Crew, the BRC CEO, to join me on the other side of this.
Powered by Signet, making SEN news this hour. The head of Australia's spy agency says we are being observed by prying eyes at unprecedented levels. ASIO Director General Mike Burgess says 24 major espionage and interference operations have been foiled in the past 3 years. With the US tariff deadline looming, there is still uncertainty about how it will affect Australia. Donald Trump has been hinting the 10% baseline tariff could increase to 15 or 20%. And international martial arts star Conor McGregor has lost his appeal against his conviction for sexual assault. sen.com.au sport coming up next. Well, the Giants' up and down form has continued, embarrassed by the Dogs last night to the tune of 88 points. Coach Adam Kingsley says they were just smashed at the coalface.
We got belted in the contest, plain and simple. I think maybe minus 51 in the end. Wow, can't really compete when you're getting belted like that.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Getting Up. All thanks to the team at Bet365. It's never ordinary when it's brought to you by Bet365. Don't forget, too, you can watch on Facebook, SEN app, or via the YouTube stream. A couple of things. We want your $100 staking plans for the weekend. It's not you call, you get on, but if you land it, you get on. We'll have you on next week. So what you do with $100, splash back into Amusing, into Also Clear. That's Pat from Geelong. Someone asking about the producer's hamstring. I'm going to play 3-state multi, all up Pareto, Eagle Farm, Cafe Millennium, Wellwall. That's DJ, Frankston South. There's a stack rolling in off the text. I'll read them in a while, but I've got to get to my next guest. He is the CEO of the BRC. I speak of Carl de Crew, and he joins me this morning. Good morning, Carl.
Miles, great to speak to you, mate. How are you?
Very well. Hey, thanks for your hospitality when we were up there the other week, and we had went and did the little breakfast show from up there as well, and looked after all of us. It was great to get out to the races. But what a season it's been up there in Queensland, and what a finish we had with the premiership battle with Angela Jones and Emily Lang going at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, gee, the Stradbroke season carnival feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it? But anyway, that's particularly if you've been sitting in Melbourne winter. But in saying that, look, we did it. We had a wonderful finish to the Metro Jockeys Premiership. Emily Lang the leading apprentice up here. She won the apprentice title by the length of the straight, but she was going for a rare double. Was well in the gunfight for the Metro title with a very good friend of hers, Ange Jones, and in the end came down to the final day at Doomben on Wednesday. Probably a bit of a fizzer in the end. Neither girl rode a winner on the final day, so Ange's two-win margin leading into that final day was good enough to see her win the title and become the first female to win the Queensland Metro Premiership. So great achievement for Ange, great achievement for Emily as well. And what I will say is, look, terrific riders. They've done a great job through the season. They do have the benefit of working for Tony Gollan, who is obviously our leading trainer here in Queensland. He secured his 12th consecutive trainer's title in Queensland. So, there is a real force of nature there, and certainly if you're legging up on his runners, you're in good shape. But both those girls really work hard, had more than 500 rides each for the season. So, they go everywhere to get on horses. And I think Ange also won the title of Ipswich and the Sunshine Coast as well, which just shows that she's putting the work in. But they're also been great ambassadors for the sport. Like they've been really open to all the media coverage. They put some boxing gloves on for a photo through the week in the build up to the last day. And I think that's a really terrific part of this story is not only are they great riders, but they're great ambassadors for the sport, and they really are the changing face of the sport here in Queensland.
Certainly are. The promotion that you guys had through the week was fantastic. I just want to mention on Tony Gollan, that 12 premierships in a row, Carl, is that the record up there? We have to name something after him there. Yeah, the premiership will have to be named after him. I'm only young, but, I think I'm young, but I couldn't think of, has someone won 12 straight before?
Certainly not in my memory. We'd like to blow the dust off a few record books and look into the distant past. Look, we're celebrating 160 years of Eagle Farm this year, so there's a fair bit of history there. But certainly not in my memory has there been such sheer and utter dominance as Tony has displayed. And he's not just winning these titles. I think it's a gap of something like 80 winners to Rob Heathcote in second. And look, that's a really fine achievement when you think about how well some of the Queensland trainers that we have here, Chris and Corey Muntz have had a breakout season, have had a great run with Cool Archie, may well be the 2-year-old of the year. Kelly Schweida is having winners everywhere, including down south, with a team of really good horses. So the fact that Tony is dominating, we also, Chris Waller's got a big presence here. So for him to dominate in the way that he is a real credit to he and his team. We almost take it for granted. But look, I guess the beauty for everyone is on Saturday we start at 0 again. So off we go. Speaking of Saturday, at Eagle Farm, you've got the annual Teddy Bears picnic there at Eagle Farm. Tell us about that. Yeah, it's our big family day, Miles, and one that we really look forward to. I think kids under 17 go free and, parents get in for $20. We've got the pony rides and all those sort of activations, which is, really we'll look forward to, and hopefully the weather is kind. I think it will be okay. The part I'm really looking forward to, we do a presentation for Emily and Angela on the day, and Tony for that matter, and their families are going to attend. We've flown them in, and that'll be great. But they're also going to do a signing session for the kids that come along for Teddy Bears picnic. I don't know if people sign things anymore, but certainly they get selfies, and the girls are going to give up their time to do that. Emily, conveniently for us, is suspended for Saturday. Angie's back, but she doesn't have a full card of rides, so it'll be a great opportunity for the youngsters to get out there and meet their heroes. And, as I said, great ambassadors for the sport. So I think that'll tie in really well for our family day on Saturday. Carl, I'm sure there'll be plenty of people that'll get out there to have a photo with Angela and Emily, and great ambassadors for the sport they are, especially up in Queensland. I appreciate your time this morning, mate. Look forward to seeing you again. Good on you, Miles. Thanks, mate. Carl de Croo there, the Brisbane Race Club CEO. Teddy Bears picnic at Eagle Farm this Saturday. If you are in Queensland, head along.
pony rides, there'll be face painting, you name it, they'll have it. You can go there. See Ange Jones, Emily Lang. Magnificent day out with the presentations too of their premierships. We'll chat to Ange Jones a little bit later on. Quick break though, Michael Hickmott to join me on the other side of this.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Russian Lights tackled in earnest on the outside by Floozy. Elmer's and I can't go with them. City of Lights getting up on the inside. Firestorm running on fairly well. Then Conasada and Tashi finally getting out. But Floozy and Ange Jones broke clear, going for home in the Dane Ripper. Running on strongly.
Certainly
Tashi
did break clear. Got it done in the Dane Ripper. Miles Pfitzner with you. And we welcome in, well, the superstar, the Queensland Premiership winning jockey. We speak of Angela Jones. She's been generous with her time this morning. Good morning, Ange.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
You're heading down to Coffs Harbour for the Cup, I believe?
Yes, yeah, we're on the way now.
Have you got a winner down there for us? How to bring me cash to 300 and Wahoo Galaxy?
Well, hopefully it's in the cup.
Yeah. Hey, Ed, congratulations. You must be super thrilled. We've been following along like most of Australia has. It was probably the best premiership battle anywhere in Australia. You must be chuffed.
Yeah, no, it's pretty exciting now. Now that it's all over and, I've had a day or two to cool down and let it sink in, I'm pretty excited about it. Obviously, when probably the day it finished, it was hard to be excited because it's been, a lot of wait for a fair while, so it was more relief, and it definitely has taken a little while to sink in.
And was it a goal of yours going into the year? Did it sort of come about halfway through and you went, geez, I've got a really good run at this? Or sort of tell us about when you really sort of clicked that, hang on, I can take this out here?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a goal at the start of the year. I like to be pretty realistic with my goals, and I didn't, I thought maybe I could do it in my career, but I didn't think this year would be the year. Obviously, Jimmy has, been winning the premiership pretty comfortably for the past 3 years, so it would have been a bit of a challenge to knock him off. But definitely once he got the call up to Hong Kong, that's probably when I probably thought it was, it was a realistic goal, and it was something I really need to have a go at this year. So, but definitely, probably the last 4 to 5 months, it's been a big goal for me.
Well, Ange, it looks like on Saturday at Eagle Farm you can kick the season off in fine style too. You've got a hell of a card of rides there, and even capping right off to race 9, you ride Perelier or Perel, however you say. I mean, you've got a really good book on Saturday.
Yeah, hopefully we can, start the season off with a bang. Obviously, the last season was pretty draining, and it's feeling like it's going to roll into the next season. But we'll go away after Saturday, so that'll be really nice. And hopefully I can, get a few winners before I go away, and then come back and really roll into the new season.
And it'll be a break, absolutely well deserved. We just had Carl de Croo on before discussing the sort of family day on the weekend, and hopefully a few kids can come up and say good day and meet their idols, because that's what it's all about, is inspiring the next generation. Greatly appreciate your time this morning. Go well at Coffs Harbour. Go well tomorrow and have another great season.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Angela Jones there took out the Queensland Jockeys Premiership, the first female to do so, and did it in fine style, an absolute ripper. We're going to clear our last break of the half hour, and we'll come back and set the show up. Michael Hickmott to join me after 9 now. Don't forget, 0499 736 736. That's 0499 736 736. Your $100 staking plans. You land it, or the best one, you come on the show. Back in a moment.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back. This is Giddy Up. Gareth Hall is in Europe. Still active on his Twitter, retweeting though. Love to see you be covering Goodwood. Glorious Goodwood, of course. And with Goodwood being on, Asafura, race 4 at Goodwood, 12:05 a.m. I mean, I'll be in bed, so I'm flying nice and early. But for the die-hard racing fans that don't have to get up nice and early on Saturday morning, you can get up and watch Asafura. So we wish Henry Dwyer and his team all the best of luck. Did you see the flag start in the Group 1 at Goodwood last night? Gave the favourite a 6-length head start. Yeah, I did see that, Dame. I was just watching it. And $100 staking plan, who's this for? Sampa. Landed his the other week. Splashback win, Liberty State Place, War, Eternal Place. Don't mind it, Sampa. $13.80. You can text them in any time, 0499 736 736. Michael Hickmott to join me on the other side of this for run through the Murray Bridge and Darwin runners. And still got a massive show ahead. Massive. Don't go anywhere.
Powered by Signet. Good morning, I'm Adam Hont with SEN News. Aussie exporters are waiting to learn if they'll be slapped with higher US tariffs. Donald Trump's August 1 deadline is almost here. The US president has flagged increasing the baseline tariff from 10 to 20% for countries yet to make a deal, including Australia.
We're making deals for trillions and trillions. Nobody's ever seen anything quite like it. We just made a couple of others a little while ago.
US Treasury data shows America has taken in more revenue from tariffs in the first 6 months of 2025 than it did for all of last year. A showdown between police and activists is on the cards in 2 major cities. A call on whether a planned pro-Palestinian protest to shut down the Sydney Harbour Bridge on Sunday can go ahead will likely be made today. Police and protesters will face off in the Supreme Court around midday. Premier Chris Minns believes it should not happen as it will throw Sydney into chaos, but a statement signed by 15 New South Wales MPs, including several from the Labor Party, want the government to facilitate a safe and orderly event. In Melbourne, hundreds of officers are expected to try and block a planned event on King Street Bridge in the CBD, also on Sunday. The head of Australia's spy agency says we are being observed by prying eyes at unprecedented levels. ASIO Director General Mike Burgess says 24 major espionage and interference operations have been foiled in the past 3 years, costing us around $12.5 billion each year. sen.com.au sport coming up next. The Bulldogs firmly staking their claim for September action, smashing the Giants 132-44 at Marvel Stadium. The Bond had 14 score involvements, telling Fox Footy they're building to something big.
It was super critical for us to start the game well. We felt like that would help us. Clearly it was sort of a four-quarter performance, which we've been looking for. And we did feel like we defended the ground a bit better. Keeping it to 44 was pretty handy.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Well, welcome back. 9:04 a.m. on this Friday, the 1st of August, the first day of the new racing season and the horse's birthday, of course. Hello to you right around the country. Miles Pfitzner with you, all thanks to the team at Bet365. It's never ordinary when it's brought to you by Bet365. Imagine what you could be buying instead. I've been looking forward to chatting to this man, hopefully catch up with him in the next day or two. He's got a very handy runner up there in Darwin, in the Darwin Cup, and a good book of horses at Murray Bridge on Saturday, tomorrow. I'll speak of Michael Hickmott, and he joins me. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Miles. Good morning, listeners.
Hey, mate, up in Darwin, what's the weather like? They tell me it might be cooling off this weekend, but apparently it had been pretty humid.
Yeah, it's been quite humid. I lived up here for a long time, and I was probably 18 to 24 or something like that, and certainly the warmest probably cup week that I'd ever experienced, yeah.
Well, your record in the Darwin Cup speaks for itself. You've absolutely dominated up there, and you take another chance up there in motor race, and you've got a lot of the boys, the Punt Road Syndications colours here, Johnny O'Neill, all the team in motor race. How is the horse, and how are you looking for the Cup?
Yeah, he's super. He just had his final little bit of work this morning. He's had obviously a trip up here and then a couple of gallops leading into his run last Saturday, so he was pretty ready to go. Very, very happy with his piece of work this morning. Just good physical and mental bit of stimulus, and that'll just top him off. He'll do very little heading into the race now, and yeah, so it's our first runner back here in our own name since 2019. So it's great to be back.
Well, looking forward to seeing it go around. More importantly, too, though you've got a huge hand here at Murray Bridge on Saturday. If I could run through a few of your runners with you, the text machine's been going mad this morning saying, when's Michael coming on? And I was trying to tell them that you were galloping a horse. Now, let's start with race number 2. We'll start with the 5 Tassero on debut.
Yeah, look, I own a big chunk of this horse. He's showing glimpses of ability, but he's quite enigmatic. It'll be rocks or diamonds on Saturday, to be honest. I was probably a little bit shocked to see him open up favourite. So he's probably opening up favourite, a fair bit to do with his pedigree. But, yeah, look, I'm on the fence with him, to be honest. And
you've also got Tiger Taste from 11 with Toddy in the saddle in the same race.
Nice horse. I've kind of waited for this race for him. For him, I probably would have liked it a little bit wetter. He's a pretty casual type of horse. His last few bits of work have been good. I could certainly see him running into a hole.
A horse that has been pretty kind to us in the past. We go to race number 3, number 4, Swisho for Emily Posman. Takes some weight off here, and you go third up.
Yeah, look, she was good first up. Got stuck wide in a much stronger race. We're using it to bring her on. Just didn't think things worked out for her the other day at Murray Bridge. That day the track defence was a bit off, and her natural racing pattern is to roll forward. So her best chances is if the fence is certainly not a negative there. I think the claim works in well. She needs to run to her best to win this race. Once again, probably surprised to see her favourite, but she's such a consistent horse, I can understand it.
Do you think that, I know that your home deck, do you get a little bit of tax, maybe that it's your home deck, start of a new season? A few of them have opened up a bit short, haven't they?
Yeah, not sure about that. I'm certain that there's people with smarter computer systems and algorithms and what I use that would dictate what prices these horses open and what they start. So, you would have to think that something like that comes into it to a lesser degree, I guess, at least. Race
4, number 6, you've got Rabtat. Looks like the Norwood footy colours there.
Yeah, he still races in the Norwood footy colours. So Michael Wilkins and I, the majority owners of him. Look, people pot this horse all the time. If I wanted to, I could drop him back and he'd win 2 or 3 on Wednesday grade, and you're blowing points for half prize money. I elect to keep him in that Saturday grade. I think it's $150,000 or $60,000. He'll be one of those horses that ends up winning 6 or 7 races and $250,000. He's not a life changer, but he's a decent enough horse. Finds actually what looks to be a decent 0 to 62 race here. I think there's probably a few horses with a little bit more class than him in it, but he's really fit. And he's ready to go for this, so he will be 100% fit and there when the whips are cracking for sure.
Fascinating race this, race number 6 over the 1,200 metres. We're going to start with the 11, Hamner Springs.
Yeah, he's a runaway. He may even trial Monday yet at Murray Bridge, I'm not certain. I'll have a good talk to my team at home today, and we'll go through a few things. But yeah, he's still a runaway.
Let's move to horse number 4 in race number 6, Cash. The text machine's lighting up. They all want to know where you're going with Cash. I mean, most of us here in Victoria saw you when you brought the horse over to Moonee Valley. How is this horse, and what are you expecting from him, and maybe what have you got in mind?
Yeah, we'll just let him take it through. He had a minor setback after that really good maiden win, and has been quite a fair bit of form come out of that maiden as well. We'll just see how it plays out for the preparation. My original plans were to kind of run him in the Lightning first up and go down that path. I just didn't want to run him on a wet track last week, so we didn't even accept him the Lightning because we knew it was going to be that wet. So, look, he's a really, really good horse. You know, I don't work him in the blinkers. I don't rev him up. Everything he does in cruise control. You know, by the time he gets back into the stalls at Murray Bridge, his heart rate's down to about bloody 85 or 90. You know, he doesn't overexert himself. Look, the only thing that I could say is he is first up from a decent while. He has had enough work going into this race, but realistically, I expect the horse to be winning. And he'll go through. I did something similar with a horse a few seasons ago called Taunting. He came back, I think, at this exact same meeting off knee surgery, off a long break. He hadn't raced since, I think, prior to the Spring Carnival, so he had quite a significant break. And I think this might have been the exact race he won, or very similar type of race. And he just went through his grades, and he just needs to learn a bit of racecraft as well. So I could have upped my sights with him a little bit, but he's still a very green horse. Yeah,
we know you've been pretty patient with him, and looking forward to seeing more of that horse going forward. Race 7, number 11, you've got Endless Forevers.
Yeah, very interesting first up. Ben said she got to check out the gates, and it was a race where they went blistering on the clock, and she just never got into the race. I was shocked not to see her forward early. Ben was still happy with the run. I think he was pretty indicative that he was keen to ride her at her next start. Jessica's done all the work on the horse, and she knows her well. Drawn tricky, so I'll have a good talk to Jessica today regarding whether we run her or not. There's a filly that I've got a lot of time for. I saw she opened up $9 or $10, and that was way over the odds. I think she'd probably start second favourite in this, and probably just needs a bit of luck, a bit like Cash from that awkward draw. And let's get to Synchro in the last. We've loved backing this horse. Just does it up front, tough. Won the last couple and looks a very good chance, albeit you've got the car park. Yeah, another one that's drawn the car park. Thank God the barrier God's changed up here in Darwin for us for the cup at least. But look, I actually don't mind where he's drawn. He's not actually a horse with blistering early speed. So rather than draw down low and have to drive his ears off, Todd can kind of dictate to what he wants to from out there. Now, he doesn't need to lead. We've led on him his last couple of starts because we could, because he was bullying horses in those lower grades. This is the first time he's out of that lesser type of grade, so he has to step up. He's a horse that I think I'm going to try and get him ready for the Murray Bridge Cup on the minimum. So I think this is a nice race for him. He's still got a fair preparation in front of him, so he's not screwed right down, but he is in a very good zone. How are you expecting that Murray Bridge track to play tomorrow? Well, normally I'd walk it, but I'm up here in Darwin at the moment, so they had the rail out. I think it was 8 or 10 metres the other day, and it copped a pretty decent sized meeting. So, historically speaking, I would say forward lanes 1 to 4 wouldn't be any disadvantage. I can't imagine. Sometimes the middle of the track can be a real advantage. So I just can't see that happening on Saturday, but. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not there to walk the track this weekend, but I will be tapping someone on the shoulder to do it for me for sure. Mate, appreciate your time. You're always good to us here at SEN Track, and I know your affiliation with Johnny and the full team here. Love how you go about it. Look forward to catching up in Darwin in a day or two, mate. Thanks, mate. Talk soon. Michael Hickmott there with his runners on the weekend. What we are going to do is we're going to take a break. When we come back on the other side of this... we've got Nick Ashman, Heath Pope, Andrew O'Toole, Pete Anthonys as we run through right up towards 10 o'clock. We've still got Bag of Tips. And Charles Bryce, who is a quadriplegic after a very bad motorbike accident many years ago, is riding from Sydney to Perth to raise money
for spinal cord research and a host of charities. So I'm looking forward to having Charles on the show later on. He's absolute ripping fella and quite inspirational what he's doing. Certainly never been done before, but to do that with your arms would be one hell of an effort. So looking forward to chatting to him towards the end of the show. Don't forget your $100 staking plans. If you want to spend $100, well, pretend $100, inverted commas, what you would do with $100 this weekend, send them in via text. We drop them all down. And if you land your $100 staking plan, you come on the show. It's a bit like my 5-state challenge used to be on Form Lounge, isn't it? Actually, it's exactly the same. Now, let's go to a break. We'll be back on the other side of this.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up, wherever you are, right around the country. 9:20 Eastern. Miles Pfitzner with you for the team at Bet365. It's never ordinary when it's brought to you by Bet365. Imagine what you could be buying instead. The $100 staking plans, they're rolling in. The one thing I do want to push is our top four multi, the Bet Boost top four multi. Lose some, win more. Zoo Sensation, Rosalind Star, and Perrellier, or how do you say it? Perel? And Perel, $5. We're over 500 have placed it already. Well, there you go. Hey, a man that's just one of the absolute best in the business. I love having a chat to him from thebeatenfavourite.com. I speak of Nick Ashman, joins me this morning. Hello to you, Nico.
Good morning, Milo. It's been a long time since you and I have had a chat now. Gareth's sort of hogging the limelight down there, but he's off on holidays. It's been a busy week again in racing, hasn't it? Just when you think we're going to get a quiet time end of the season, we have a bit of action up north there in Darwin, so we'll see how things unfold.
I'm on a plane at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, heading straight up there for 3 days.
Have you got accommodation?
Yes.
You do?
Okay. I do.
You're staying with Noel Callow, are you?
No, I don't think I'll be settling up there with Noel.
He might have a spare room there for you. His room might be spare. Who knows?
Yeah, well, I've certainly got my own. Not that I've got myself into my own sorts of trouble up there with accommodation last year, Nico. So I'll need to.
Well, anyway, look, it's good. I've just brought up the field actually for the Darwin Cup, and if you're heading up there, it does obviously Noel's on Bear Story. I don't know, I'm not sure what the process is up there. They're obviously investigating that matter that's come out in the last 24 hours. So I'll be interested to see where that all lands and whether or not he can ride. I assume he still can until they investigate it properly. But interesting race it always is. The funny thing with the Darwin Cup is, whether you're a New South Welshman or a Victorian, there's usually quite a lot of horses in it that you're familiar with because of where they were in their previous life in your home state.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Do you like one?
Oh, I thought that motor race, Michael Hickmont's horse, with Toddy Panel on it, it's going pretty well. Blinker's come off. His recent ratings are pretty good, and his peak is sort of around this distance range. So I think he'll give you a good sight, but there's no prices up, so I can't tell you if he's good value or not. But his performance 9 days ago was reasonably good, and he sort of comes in here with one of the best last start ratings. So I think he'll give you a good sight.
I like a few that sort of are favourites on the weekend, but I like a few that are at big prices on the weekend. Where are you looking to play? Is Sydney going to be too wet up there? Are you looking? I thought the Ori Star, there might even be a blowout in that at Flemington.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Because, look, Sydney's... I was talking to Julesy Valance, and, we obviously do that Foxcatcher show, but I said to him, it's so hard to do form for a meeting that you're fairly certain will be called off. And the difference between horses that can handle... You go through a horse's heavy form, you go, well, this thing's had 2 starts for a win and a placing, but they're both on heavy 8s. And if the, 50 mil that we're predicted to get over the next 24 hours arrives, if the meeting goes ahead, it'll be the equivalent of about a heavy 17, I would think. I could be wrong. So...
heavy doesn't mean heavy, does it?
No, and it really, there's no rating worse than a heavy 10, but if you ask any jockey or anyone who understands track ratings, then there is definitely ratings beyond that. It's just, if it was a true weight scale, to use a handicap term, we'd probably be on a heavy 13 or 14 at the very least, and that's vastly different to a heavy 8. So let's go and have a look at the Ori Star anyway. Here's some stats that our great man Andy put up on the beaten favourite just yesterday. Favourites have got a good record in the race. If you're into the corner of Splashback, here's something for you. 9 of the last 21 winners of this race have been favourites, including the last 2. You had $100 on every favourite since 2004. You'd be up $800 or thereabouts. Only 2 horses have won at a double-digit odds in the last 21 years. Broken in 2013 and Sosie Bond in 2019. Awesome. From a barriers point of view, here you go. 2 out of 3 winners over the last, since 1995, have jumped from barriers 5 to 9. And in the last 5 years, every winner has jumped from barriers 6 to 8. So those middle draws really seem to be the flavour of the recent history. 6 of the last 10 winners have been in the top 4 at the 400-metre mark. Here's a stat that goes against the favourite, Splashback. Only 3 mares in the last 3 decades have won. Now, one of them was last year with Right to Party, but before that, you've got to go back to last century. Makes you sound old, doesn't it?
It does.
1999, Hula Wonder. From an age point of view, 8 of the last 12 winners have been 6 years or older, and the lead-up form, or the Bletchingley Stakes, is the best lead-up form if you are going to look for something that's how to run this preparation. So that's the history of the race. In terms of the sectionals, well, Splashback's got the wood on them. King of Rousseau's been doing good things up here in Sydney, Milo. Like there was a spruik about him being a Golden Slipper horse a couple of years ago during his juvenile season. He never got there. A lot of the coat tuggers at the races were telling you this is Snowden's next slipper winner, but he never made it. Looks like he's putting it all together now. I said to Julesy yesterday, my only query with him, it looks like you guys are going to have a dry deck down there. He's better with a little bit of cut in the ground. So just worried that it might get a bit firm, but we are in winter. And as you know, there's always that little bit of extra softness or padding it seems to be in winter months.
No Hope, Sheet Answers, Joyful Fortune.
I wouldn't say they're no hope. The Hayes boys have had a breakout season. Obviously, they won the Victorian Premiership. They've come out in the media this week saying we're going to have a crack for the Melbourne Premiership next year, challenge Kieran Maher. Their ROI is about plus 21% from their last 100 runners. So I don't want to second guess them, but I do think Marble Nine's probably the strongest of the front runners. He's won his last 3 on end. He's going to be drawn out, to get that nice one sort of in the centre of the track. I think if there is a blowout, I'm going to say it's Miss Aria. She's never been down the straight, but she's got terrific straight line speed. So whenever I'm doing form, Milo, on straight races, I do go looking for a horse that's never been down the straight, but whose sectionals tell me that they've got great straight line speed. And what I mean by that is when they balance up in a home straight around the bend, that's when they unleash. They're not as quick around the bend. Some horses can handle the bends really well. Some handle the straight better. Shataka was probably the best example you've ever seen of a great straight horse, straight line speed. Once he balanced up, that's when he unleashed. Around the bend, he just wasn't anywhere near as effective.
Nico, I've got 2.5 minutes, mate. Where do you want to take us with a few of you? You've always got something at a price. You've always got a race you want to maybe dissect a little bit closer. What have you got for us?
Yeah, I'll give you 2. One, Flemington race 9 tomorrow. I'm having something on Electric Bell. She's massive odds. I think she's probably 60 to 1 now. She's first up for Reece Goodwin, but she's only off about 88 days. And Damien Lane's ridden her 3 times for 2 wins in the placing. Got a feeling that she might have come back a bit better this preparation, which is unusual for an 8-year-old mare, but I'm going to have something small on her. I think she gets the right run in transit. And then today, Coffs Harbour Cup up here in New South Wales is going ahead. Our info on the track is that probably lanes sort of 2 and 3 out to 7 and 8 through the middle is the place to be. It's race 7 of the program, 3:55 kickoff. Number 3, Cranky Harry is the tip there for me. I thought the horse did a good job last time out. Loves a bit of cut in the ground. And Matty Dunn knows how to train winners for fun up there in that part of the woods.
Just in the last minute and a half here, Nico, do we get to see you much this spring? You're looking to come down to Melbourne. What are your plans?
Yeah, I'll be down in Melbourne. Turnbull Stakes Day, Caulfield Giddies, Caulfield Cup. So maybe if I'm there early enough, mate, maybe I can come in and have a coffee with you guys on a Friday morning. We can do this segment face-to-face for once in a lifetime.
Love that. Hey, we can go check it all out at thebeatenfavourite.com, of course. I'll check it out with Jules as well, with Foxcatcher, mate. Appreciate your time as always, and look forward to catching up.
Love you, mate. Talk to you soon.
Nick Ashman there from thebeatenfavourite.com, an absolute ripper. The $100 staking plans, they're continuing to roll in. Someone said who had the best result last week. Well, Sampers said he got it, but I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, Jimmy the Bear was in a multi for a lot of people. So I wasn't here last week, so it's like we're starting again. What have we got? Eagle Farm, Port Erin to place, to lose some, win more to win. That's Mick from Brizzy. Also Clear Murray Bridge, Convergent Rose Hill, War Eternal Rose Hill. If I was you guys, I'd try and steer away from Rose Hill because I don't think it's going to be much chop there. Eagle Farm, Perel into Murray Bridge, Swicho, Foss and Glenroy. Don't mind that. Don't mind that at all. Good work keeping the future superstar capitalist cult quiet. Good on you, Damo. Loving your text of late. 0499 736 736. We've got a little changeover of stations here on the 9:30 news. You can join in at any time. Coming up on the other side of this, Heath Pope will discuss Victoria and South Australia, his best bets. Andrew O'Toole as we turn our attention towards the Darwin Cup. Pete Anthony's for WA. That meeting's been moved from Belmont to Pinjarra. So they've still got some issues there with the Belmont track in WA. Bag of tips, and then a ripping story to finish. Maybe something that we can try and do some good. Maybe give some money back, donate, and help out a young man who's doing something that's really it's going to defy belief. He's riding, he's a quadriplegic. He's riding with his hands from Sydney to Perth to raise some money for charity. So I thought I'd get him on and we'll have a chat to him. That's all coming up on the other side of this. Ronnie's 50 each way, hard to cross at Flemington. I'll read out yours in a minute, Ryan. We'll be back on the other side of this.
Powered by Signet, making SEN news this hour. The head of our spy agency says espionage is costing the country at least $12 billion a year. ASIO Chief Mike Burgess says the organisation has disrupted dozens of operations in the past 3 years. The Supreme Court will make a call on whether or not to allow a pro-Palestinian rally to take place on the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Police also expected to try and block a similar protest in Melbourne CBD on Sunday. And Virgin Australia has won the right to allow passengers to bring small dogs and cats on board flights. sen.com.au sport coming up next. The Bulldogs firmly staking their claim for September action, smashing the Giants 132-44 at Marvel Stadium. The Bond had 14 score involvements, telling Fox Footy they're building to something big.
It was super critical for us to start the game well. We felt like that would help us. Clearly it was sort of a fourth-quarter performance, which we've been looking for. And we did feel like we defended the ground a bit better. Keeping it to 44 was pretty handy.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up, 9:32 a.m. Eastern, right around the country. Hello and good morning to you if you're just joining us. If you're waking up in Sydney, it's around 9 degrees, forecast of 15. Melbourne, a forecast of 14, Brisbane 20, Perth 21, Adelaide 15, Hobart 13, Canberra 13 and Darwin, look out, 33 degrees. Miles Pfitzner with you, 0499 736 736. Couple of $100 staking plans. Chef Ryan, Adelaide 3-4 into 6-11 and a top 5. It's quite detailed, that one, Rhino. Can we discuss the financial tactic of malting every bet into Via Sistina between now and Cox Plate Day? That's a great text. Like it. Documentary into Get Along for someone as well. Hey, one of the superstars we have that rolls in here week in, week out and finds us winners. His name is Heath Pope and he joins us. Hello to you, Popey.
Morning, Miles. How are you?
Very well, thank you, my friend. Very well. Hey, mate, Adelaide, Murray Bridge and Melbourne on the weekend. It's looking like we're going to get a drying track there at Murray Bridge. How are you expecting that to play?
Yeah, mate, I'm working on a soft 6. Looks like it's improving. At the moment, I still think it's a 7 rated, but I'm working on a 6. A little wind, no rain forecast. Typical Murray Bridge, I'll be getting off the fence.
Yeah.
But it's a tricky program, Miles.
Where do you want to start? I'll pretty much be led by you here, so you tell me where you want to go.
Yeah, mate. I'm agreeing with a few of the listeners. Race 3, number 4, Swico. That last start run, that was a really strong rating race, Miles. It was pressured throughout up front. I thought it did really well to stick on and only be beaten just over a length. This race tomorrow, pressure up front, is very little. There's no pace. It'll stalk the leader, Thermodynamic, and races well on the soft going, 2 from 3. I think it's a good bet. I've got it rated $3.50 or better.
Yeah, Big Sue might need it probably a fraction wetter, and then you just don't know which merchant boss is going to roll up. So then it might pick itself. Where do you want to go next?
Let's go to race 5, number 8, Dancing Storm. Now, this is an open little race. However, this horse, it races very well fresh. It's never missed a place first up. Races well here at Murray Bridge. Now, that first up run last campaign, it ran a huge runner-up effort behind Bakil. That horse then went on to a lot better things.
Well, it was well out of its ratings, wasn't it, Bakil, because it had come from Singapore. It sort of had an opportunity to go through the grades. So you felt sorry for horses like this, didn't you?
Absolutely. But just the run itself, I mean, it was never on the track and it still took late ground off the winner. And, it's a consistent first-up performer. I just, this is an open little race, Miles, but I just think it's a good each-way play at $4.50. I mean, I'm respecting the favourite Giddy, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's a bit overdue for a win as well. So I just think Dancing Storm each way won't let us down there.
Yeah, I think you're sort of still getting maybe a bit better than that with Bet365. Any others here at Murray Bridge before we move on to Melbourne?
Yeah, mate. Race 9, number 1, The Man's Man. This is the class horse of the race. Loves Murray Bridge. However, the big thing here is the blinkers go back on. It won't be conceding one of these big starts that it has been of late. I'm really respecting it big time. It loves Murray Bridge, as I said. Against this class of field, I just think it's got a class edge on them. Genuine tempo up front is ideal. I've only got it rated $3.75, which is, I think it's about $4 in the market. But I just think it's a good way to finish the program, The Man's Man.
Yeah, one dropping back in grade there too. Let's go to Flemington. How are you expecting that track to play, and where did you want to start?
Well, it looks like it's an improving track, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but again, I'm playing, lanes 4 to 9. But my best bet of the day, I'm even including Murray Bridge in this, but I think the best bet of the whole weekend is race 4, number 9, Documentary.
Yep.
Those final sectionals were elite last start, and that was despite finding trouble on a couple of occasions. It was climbing all over heels. Meets a very similar lineup here, rising another 100 metres. I think it will be horribly hard to hold out.
Yeah, sort of finds the same horses with Lose Some, Win More. Don't think there's anything outside of Lose Some, Win More that could really challenge it. But I know Mitch is keen on Lose Some, Win More. But, yeah, you're spot on, especially if you watch that replay late. You can't go over them, can you?
Exactly. And I can only see it being improved for that run too. I don't know what the story is with it. It's only very lightly raced. And now, what is it, 6 or 7 year old? So,
anything else there at Flemington, mate? You got a value play or another best?
I want to make mention of in race 6, number 4, Run Harry Run. There's no pace in that race. I'm a bit scared of Flemington. However, I just think it's going to give a very big on pace sight. Each way odds, I think it'll run well. And in the Ori Star, very hard race, but I'm on the Sydney side of King of Rosso. I just think the race fitness will. That's what I'm siding with. Plus, $5. I think it's a good each way play.
Yeah, very tricky race. You got your favourite is going right up in grade. Marble Nines at start 10 for the prep. One's coming down from Sydney, and then you've got the straight to contend with as well. Very tricky, but hopefully you can land it with King of Rosso, Popey. Hey, mate, appreciate you jumping on with us this morning. Look forward to chatting again next week.
Absolutely, Miles. See you, mate.
Heath Pope there, our star that looks at the races at Murray Bridge and at Flemington, and he's got a few there at Value too. Really likes documentary. Let's get to a break. Andrew O'Toole on the other side of this. We'll be back in a moment.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up, all thanks to the team at Bet365 with the Top Tote Plus. You'll get the best paid across all 3 national totes. What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Miles Pfitzner with you. I'm joined by a man I'm about to see in less than 24 hours. He is an absolute superstar. I speak of Andrew O'Toole, all thanks to the NT Thoroughbred Racing. The best show on sand in the top end this Saturday and Monday, and I'm going to be there. Hello to you, Tooley.
Hello, Milo.
Hey, mate, I'm that keen. I'm champing at the bit.
How's the weather?
Well, I had a look. Currently, you're 26, maybe 27 degrees in a forecast of 33 today. I couldn't be more excited.
No, it's a bit of a cloudy morning, but the forecast for the next 3 days, in fact, the next 5 days is beautiful. Going to be a little cooler at night, which is what we want, take a bit of that humidity out of the air. But looking forward to having you, Sammy and Ali here for the weekend. And certainly Monday's going to be a cracking day, as will tomorrow, Palmerston Sprint Day.
Let's get to, I want to start with the Darwin Cup before we get to tomorrow, but I could see on Bet365, $3.20, or $2.80 for Hadouken, $3.20 for Motor Race. It's nearly write your own ticket. Wolfburn is $6.50, and the rest are pretty much a wash is $12, and the rest are nearly $20 plus in the Darwin Cup. How are you seeing it?
Yeah, look, to me it looks pretty much that way. The barrier draw was held yesterday. Hadouken drew barrier 3. He'll jump from 2 with the emergency coming out funny for 1 drew 1. Moto Race drew nicely in the middle of the line. Wolfburn's out a touch wider, but that won't worry him. And a wash, he's drawn a wide gate. But really, I suppose apart from the top 3 or 4, it does drop away a little bit. Bear Story just hasn't come up this campaign. A number of the others have been racing probably a little below their best. And Hadouken, of course, last year's winner, Peter Roble, has engaged his great mate Blake Shin to ride. So that's a major coup for Monday and a major plus for the horses' chances, I reckon, in going back-to-back.
Absolutely. We're probably going to get you on and talk more about Darwin Cup a bit later when that's all finalised, some prices up. But what about Saturday? Have you got something for us on Saturday? I want to land, Tooley. I want to go put my bags at the hotel room, whack a pair of shorts on, roll out, grab a white fish, stand next to you, and then I want to back something there at Fanny Bay.
Couple of horses I like on the day that actually won their respective races they're in this year, 12 months ago to the day. Race 2, number 2, Rising Fire.
Yep.
Not always the most reliable conveyance, shall we say, but he was good the other day. He will have been set for this 1,300 metres. Jason Lyon and Chloe Baxter have had wonderful carnivals, and I thought he was hard to beat. Race 2, number 2, Rising Fire.
Grasshopper.
Grasshopper, that's him, the hip-hop man. Race 6, Little Diddy from the one gate. She won this race last year for Terry Gillette and his daughter Dakota. That's the same combo again. That inside gate, he'll lead Little Diddy, and I think he'll take plenty of catching in race 6. So race 6, number 3, Little Diddy.
Is that the one we steamrolled last year, or did we back that horse at Alice Springs and it won for us? It rings a bell.
Yeah, I know. We were very keen on it up here last year on the Saturday. I know Greg Radley was here last year on the Saturday, and he's still talking about Little Diddy. So that's a good sign. Hopefully Little Diddy can make it back-to-back wins in that particular race, the Cleanaway Handicap.
Beautiful.
And of course, the sprint, mate, very open, whereas the Darwin Cup's a little bit less open. The sprint, any of them can win. I do understand Vinny's Spirit was a scratching this morning, so he's come out. That allows Pompey Empire to get a run. Gary Clark's got 6 of them engaged here. Chris Nash with a couple, and I'm actually going with one of Nash's right up the top, Ideas Man. He ran second in this 2 years ago, third last year, but he's down 3 kilos on last year's weight, so he carries only 58 kgs. Noel Callow to ride, blinkers on, drawn an ideal gate and of 4, and I think he'll, even though he's 8 years old today, congratulations and many happy returns to all our horses today, but I think Ideas Man will give them plenty of opposition tomorrow.
I've had a good look at that race. This Boldinio, I've seen a fair bit of him down here, and he handles the dirt. If he even moderately turns up, he will donkey lick these, I reckon.
Yeah, he was very good winning here the other day. Barrier draw is not going to help him. He's drawn the outside.
Yeah, that hurt.
Jade Hampson rides. Obviously been riding in good form. I guess Jared Todd, the stable rider, would have had the
pick,
and he's gone with Lumber Punk.
Yeah.
But couldn't leave any of them out of Clarkie's because he's won this race 5 times before, so he's looking for his 6th tomorrow, and you wouldn't put anything past our 13-time premiership winning trainer.
When I had him on, I said to him, "What do you like in the Palmerston Sprint?" He just went, "Yeah, well, any of the 6." Can't split him. It's any of the 6, mate. Yeah, can't split him.
He never gives much. He never gives much away, Clarkie. He sleeps with a sock in his mouth. But he's a great bloke. I interviewed him yesterday at the Let's Talk Racing luncheon, and he's just happy to have half the field.
Yeah, I'll bet too. Hey, mate, looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'll be skipping off that plane when I land in Darwin. Don't you worry about that. I want to go drop my bags and race straight out to the race course. So I'll have a cold one ready for me, mate. I'll see you right out there.
Yeah. Beautiful, mate. Looking forward to it.
Andrew O'Toole there for NT Thoroughbred Racing, the best show on sand in the top end this Saturday. All my Darwin bets will be going up. We'll try and do bits of content that we'll flick through to Ethan while we're up there, Sammy and I. So I'd be following Sammy, though. That's for sure. But I might have a couple of bets up there at Darwin. It's been good to us the last few years, that's for sure. Hey, a quick break. Pete Anthony's on the other side of this. We'll talk all things Pinjarra now, not Belmont, Pinjarra. Thanks to Bet365, and I'll keep reading you $100 staking plans off the text.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall. The Western Whip Around. Tune in to Racing WA TV on 7+, your ultimate destination for everything racing in the West.
Western Whip Around. Tune in to Racing WA TV on 7+, your ultimate destination for everything racing in the West. We're going to talk WA first up into the news, and if we can hold him over and be awfully patient with us, we might grab him on the other side to have a look at Flemington. His name is Pete Anthony. He joins me. Hello, Pete.
Yeah, g'day, Miles.
Hey, first of all, Tippers and Clippers episode has gone up now on YouTube, and it's up there now. You can go find it. You got to search Tippers and Clippers. It'll be up there. Pete, we rolled in there yesterday for a haircut. You hadn't had one in 5 years. Maury nearly had a heart attack.
Yeah, he gave me a bit of a spray along the way, but he's done a fantastic job.
And it was all Gareth's fault.
It was all Gareth's fault. He's in for it when he gets back from holiday. But look, Murray's worked wonders, to be honest. Girlfriend was happy, so that's all that matters. And, can't wait to freeze my bonds off over the rest of the winter. No, actually, I must say, this winter's been incredibly kind. If you're a yard watcher like me, really, I haven't had much to complain about standing out there in the mounting yard, mostly sunshine.
Hey, mate, well, as long as your girlfriend's still there, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
If you come back after you cut your hair after 5 years and she's still there, I think that's the biggest tick. Hey, we've got about a minute till we've got to go to the 10 o'clock news. I know that, let's just talk about quickly what happened. So Belmont no longer, and we go back to Pinjarra.
Yes, look, horrible forecast. There could be up to 30 mils of rain there Saturday morning. So, look, they've elected to basically go, the Belmont track is still recovering. We're not exactly sure how much rain will impact it. Look, it would have been nice if this decision had been made before markets have gone up. So, obviously, there's been a lot of lost turnover there with early bets and so forth. But, look, I think overall in balance, it's the right play. If we'll just see if the rain comes there Saturday morning. Obviously, it will hit the metro area, but will it hit Pinjarra? That's the big question.
Are you playing in WA?
I will be. I've got two plays if the rain comes. Race 4, number 1. But
we've gone crackly on us there. That's okay. We'll hold Pete. We'll quickly get him on the other side of the news. Charles Bryce still to join us, who's a quadriplegic after a horrible motorbike accident, is riding from Sydney to Perth. Great story, and I'm going to let Charles tell it. And he's raising money for spinal cord research, which is close to us here, of course. Wings for Life, and his wheels across Australia. And what we are going to do is read more of the staking plans. Tim from Sawtells on Wycliffe, 50 each way. Damos with Exit, Splashback and Cash, Asaphora, Stern Idol, the Cunning Fox, all to win. 100 into 21,000. Documentary into King of Rosso for Rooster. Exit to Bergerac, Aztec State the Place. I like that, Gregor. I like that one, Gregor. That's nearly my favourite. The Bergerac into Lose Some, Win More into Splashback, Rose Hill into Captain Furai, all to win. Rob C from Geelong and Jake from Watsonia. Exit into Cash, $7. Short, sharp and shiny. News time.
Powered by Signet. Good morning, I'm Adam Pond with SEN News. Well, the Supreme Court will make a call on whether or not to allow a pro-Palestinian rally to take place on the Sydney Harbour Bridge on Sunday. New South Wales Police concerned they can't guarantee public safety or that of the protesters and want it moved. Also worried it could block emergency services. In Melbourne, hundreds of officers are expected to try and block a similar event organised for King Street Bridge in the CBD also on Sunday. With the US tariff deadline looming, there is still uncertainty about how it will affect Australia. Donald Trump has been hinting the 10% baseline tariff could increase to 15 or 20%. The US president likely to make an announcement sometime today that could substantially affect Australian exporters. Police have contacted thousands of families after a Sydney childcare worker was charged with a number of child abuse offences. The 26-year-old worked at nearly 60 centres over 6 years. AFP Acting Assistant Commissioner Brett James telling the 7 concerned parents can contact a local help centre.
Parents go to a website, www.afp.gov.au/op-arctile. Have a look at that. There's a lot of information there. I think the most important piece of information there is how to communicate with your children.
Virgin Australia has won the right to allow passengers to bring small dogs and cats on board flights, and not many of us need an excuse to crack a can or down a jar, but I'll give you one anyway. Today is International Beer Day, an annual celebration of the amber fluid in all its glory. Drinkers encouraged to try something a little out of their comfort zone.
Gummy beer.
Well, the Dogs showing why they are worthy of a final spot, demolishing the Giants by 88 points at Marvel last night. But with a number of teams hunting for September footy, coach Luke Beveridge says they've got to stay focused.
The cold hard fact says that we need to keep winning, so it's one down and a handful to go.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up, 10:04am right around the country, the last half hour of the Friday show. Don't forget the Tippers and Clippers has gone up thanks to the team at Tyre Power. Great chat with Pete Anthony. They're down there with Maury and getting a haircut. Pete Anthony joins me this morning. Hello again, mate. We're having some problems with Pete this morning on his phone line, but that's okay. We'll do our absolute best. You can keep getting your staking plans in. We've read most of them today, but Pete Anthony joins us down the line. Hello, Pete.
This time, Miles, we're playing a little bit of ducks and drakes.
That's all right. I got you loud and clear. We've got to be a bit sharper here, mate. I do apologise, but we're running low on time. Can we go WA and then into Flemington, please?
Yeah, WA, assuming the rain hits, race 4, number 1, vast start. Thought that run last start was excellent, signalling the horses back near his best. And at odds, race 5, number 8, number Tembu. I'm convinced this horse loves the wet, so if it gets to a heavy track, I'll be playing her at the price around $19. Think we might even get better on the day.
Anything at Flemington?
It was just the one bet. I was happy to hear Pokey as well found this horse, but race 4, number 9, documentary. Big watch for me out of the mounting yard first up. Think it's drawn ideally there down the straight. So that's the one and only form play there at Flemington.
Pete, you're an absolute star, mate. I'm glad the missus likes the new haircut. We'll throw Gareth under when we get back here. Fancy taking a bloke that hasn't had a haircut for 5 years into a 15-minute haircut appointment. But anyway, that's the way it goes. You're a good sport. Appreciate your time, mate. We'll chat again soon.
Cheers, Milo.
Pete Anthony there, all thanks to Racing WA TV on 7 Plus, your ultimate destination for everything racing in the West. Time for
the Giddy Up Bag of Tips for Oz Equipment Rentals. Supplying equipment to the construction, mining and roadworks industries. OzEquipment.com.
Time for Bag of Tips. Thanks to Bet365 Top Tote Plus. You get the best paid across all 3 national totes. What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au and the mighty Ultima Hotel in the heart of the Mallee, just down the road from Swan Hill. Swing by for a cold beer. And, of course, Oz Equipment Rentals, supplying equipment to the construction, mining and roadworks industries. Go to ozequipment.com. These tips are all available on the SEN app Track Hub. Mitch Lewis, Cranbourne, race 4, number 6, Kiwi Harmony, and 8-1 Marshall Music. That's Cranbourne, 4-6, 8-1. Good push from Marshall Music from Jack Dickens earlier in the week too. Luke Havanassi and Kembla Grange. 4-1 Ridgeback. 4-1. 7-5 Kryptonic. 7-5 Kryptonic. So 4-1 and 7-5 at Kembla Grange. Coffs Harbour 6-9 Sammy Conquers All. 6-9 and 7-4 the 300. 7-4. That's Angela Jones's ride in the Coffs Harbour Cup. Looking forward to seeing a bit more of the 300. Don't you start, boys. Darren Carroll for Mildura. 2-1 Play Nice. 2-1 Play Nice for Darren Carroll. And 9-3 Lochinvar Magic. 9-3 Lochinvar Magic. And then at Melton for Darren Carroll, 7-5 Speedy Healy. 7-5 and race 10, number 7, Maori Franklin. 10-7 there at Melton. For Amanda Rando for Harness Racing New South Wales, the home of the Carnival of Cups, where Australian music royalty meets quality harness racing action. For Amanda, at Wagga, 2-1 Hollywood Strip, race 2, number 1, and race 5, number 4, Bet She's a Lady. Race 5-4, Bet She's a Lady. And then at Newcastle, to round it out, race 2, number 4, Tetchy Creed. That's 2-4. And race 4, number 2, Cool Night. 4-2 there for Newcastle. Thanks to Amanda Rando. We're going to jump to a break and we're going to give Charles Bryce the last 15 minutes of the show. He is riding, he's a quadriplegic, and he's riding with his arms from Sydney to Perth to raise money for Wings for Life for spinal cord research. Look, it's going to be a great listen. I'll get him to tell you a bit about his story and what he plans on doing. It's going to be an unbelievable effort. And we'll have a link go up on our social media to go and donate, because all the money goes towards spinal cord research. And we know that, especially in the harness and the racing world, that spinal cord research is very, very important. We'll go to a break. We'll be back with him on the other side of this.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. Live across Australia on SEN Track. Giddy up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Getting Up, wherever you are, right around the country. Hello again to you. Miles Pfitzner filling in for Gareth Hall. I thought I'd change it up towards the end of the week here on Friday. And a young man that's doing something absolutely incredible I thought we'd get on. And I know that spinal cord research and spinal cord injuries, especially through racing, have been an issue in the past and a problem with after race falls and whatnot. And a young man that's raising money for spinal cord research joins me this morning as he's about to embark on something that no quadriplegic has ever done before. I speak of Charles Bryce, and he joins me this morning. Brycey, hello to you, mate.
G'day, Fitzy. Good to chat with you, mate.
Hey, first of all, thank you to the ABC for allowing us to have a chat to you. You're obviously a reporter for the ABC. Our listeners right around the country may or may not be familiar with your story, but 15 years ago you had an accident, mate. Take us back to the accident, what happened, and take us through essentially where that led you to start Wheels for Walk, and then eventually what we're going to talk about with ending up you cycling from Perth to Sydney.
It's 15 years ago seems like a long time, but almost part of me feels like the accident I had was, only yesterday. So it's a pretty standard Saturday morning. Went out for a motorbike ride with a few guys, South Australia's Riverland, and just sort of be a good way to meet people. I was sort of new to the area, working on a farm there, and sort of as is always the case, I wasn't too from home when the bike that I was riding sort of dug a bit of amount of dirt and sent me flying over the bars, and broke my neck. And since then it's been sort of, my life has been turned upside down. But it's given me challenge last years, but I think I'm swimming rather than sinking.
Mate, you certainly are flying at the moment. I'm just going to get them to reset your connection here. We just had a little bit of a fraction of a kick there, so I'll get the boys to reset that quickly. So after that, and for those that might be in and around South Australia, Charles grew up in Narracourt. I've known Charles a long time, and he ended up with essentially founding Wheels to Walk. And what Charles ended up doing was raising money and cycling. He did a lot of rides in South Australia through hand cycling and raising money for spinal cord research. But we'll get Charles back up on the line. I just didn't want it to cut out on him here because I think it's something pretty important we should talk about. And I do encourage that if we do manage to find a winner this weekend or over the Spring Carnival, I think we make a donation. Charlie, mate, good to have you back. Sorry, we're just dropping out there. Tell us about the first couple of rides when they started. I sort of remember a while back when you first embarked on your fundraising campaign and you founded Wheels to Walk. Mate, tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, that was back in 2019 was our first one, and compared to what I'm about to do, it was tiny. It was about 350 kilometres over about 4 days, going from the side of Marks back to Adelaide. And I guess it's been the whole driver behind my hand cycling journey over the last sort of 5 or 6 years. So we then did another one in 2021 around the southeast of SA, and all up we've been able to raise about 320 grand for spinal cord injury research, which is phenomenal when you sit down and think about it. It's I've been away from it a little while, the fundraising side of things. It's still been hand cycling and competing and whatnot, but I've got a bit of a niche that I need to scratch, and it seems like a bit of a big journey.
Mate, you've partnered up with Wings for Life, of course, and we're going to post a link on our social media to talk about where they can donate. But this is your campaign here, which is what I want to talk about. This is Wheels Across Australia. So you are going to hand cycle from Perth to Sydney.
Yeah, it seems a bit silly, doesn't it? When you say it out loud.
Mate, I know you, and I know you're mad, but this seems mad.
Yeah, look, it's and the closer it gets, the scarier it gets. It was only a couple of weeks ago that it was 6 months to go, and the year's just flown by. So, heading from Adelaide to Sydney to Perth, tomorrow afternoon, and we'll have a day of sort of getting everything together, and then Monday morning, first thing, we'll be heading off from Scarborough Square. Looking out over the Indian Ocean, and then making our way to the Pacific. So I've got a great support crew with me, a couple of family members, and physios are on board. I'm going to have a physio for the whole time I'm there, and that's just going to be a game changer for me. So it's going to be long and tough, but I think it's something that we can get the job done.
Tell us about some of the logistics of this. I've sort of seen some of the social media clips and whatnot that have gone out. You're going to have to sort of essentially rotate some of your support crew as you go, but also, you and I have spoken in the past about it's not just the physical sense. I mean, you've got to be able to cool yourself down. You need to be checked medically as well. But it's not as straightforward as what it sounds.
No, look, if you look at anyone with a spinal cord injury, it's not just the fact that they have a lack of function and movement. It's there are so many other hidden side effects. Like you said, I can't regulate my body temperature. So at the moment during winter, I'm just about the coldest person in Australia, and vice versa in summer, like I can't sweat, so I can't cool myself down. Those sorts of things have to be taken into account. There are other things, like pressure sores as well. My body doesn't heal as good as it used to, and if you get one on your backside, then you're sort of bedridden for a couple of weeks, if not months. So. These are all the sorts of things that you have to be contending against, but I'm taking every precaution that I can to make it as safe and enjoyable as possible. I'm sure it's not going to be enjoyable the whole time, but, it'll just be, if we can get it done, it'll be a great achievement, and, it'd be great to know, for myself and from a selfish point of view, to know that, I'm sort of doing something good for people like myself, but also people like you, Milo, who haven't yet had a spinal cord injury. I was 19 when I had mine, and I was absolutely invincible. These things can happen to anyone at any time. Just no one's immune.
No, they're certainly not. Brycey, are you expecting, as it goes on, some people along the journey? Can they sort of follow your journey along? They go out and get roadside, come out, sort of get involved as you sort of take on this massive challenge?
Well, I've got 4,300 kilometres ahead of me. If I'm out there by myself for the whole time, I've already got enough voices in my head. I'm going to not have any more to talk to. So, the more people that come out and have a conversation with me, the better. People are welcome to come and join. I've had quite a few people already, wanting to see me off at the start line, and people offer to come and do parts of the Nullarbor with me, and riding into Sydney and Adelaide as well. So it's going to be pretty lonely out there from time to time. So if people want to come and join me, they can raise a few dollars and come and chew the fat with me along the way.
Mate, how are you preparing mentally for this, mate? You're one of the toughest blokes I know or have ever met. How are you preparing mentally for this? It's an enormous challenge, but you're never one to back away. Well, I've never seen you back away from one. It must be an exhaustive process. You've got a great support network, but mentally, this will be your biggest battle.
Yeah, look, I've been able to follow a bit of a program to prepare physically, but preparing mentally, I'm not sure if they write textbooks on how to do something like this. I've absolutely got no idea how to prepare mentally for it. I mean, I think part of it would just be coming down to who I am as a person, and I'm a pretty stubborn guy, Milo, and sometimes that can work for me, and sometimes that can work against me. But in this instance, it's going to work for me, and there'll be nothing more than I want to do than to get into Circular Quay after some pretty tough weeks out on the road. I just have no idea. I'll be chucking podcasts on, listening to playlists, doing anything I can to sort of distract me. When the times are tough, because I'm sure there will be plenty of tough times, but I think that's all part of it. Like, it's all part of the challenge, isn't it? Like, feeling those feels and I guess embracing it and learning a little bit about yourself along the way.
Mate, how can people get involved? How can people get involved and donate? We've got a lot of punters, racing people that have been affected by spinal cord injuries on this station, and we're right around the country at the moment. Can people get involved, go and donate now? Where's the best way to get in and amongst it?
Yeah, look, people can donate through either my website, charlesbryce.com.au, through my social media. They'll be able to follow along. There'll be daily videos and, updates and what have you. So, even if people want to sort of support and, throw the liker on and throw the leg over a bike to come and join me on some parts of it, they can do that too. So, my DMs are open, my emails are open, so, if people want to get in touch to help out, more than willing to hear what they've got to say.
Mate, absolutely remarkable. When I heard you were doing this, I just thought, well, you're on to your next one, but a huge challenge ahead of you. I couldn't be more proud of what you're trying to do and what you're trying to do for spinal cord research, my friend. I wish you all the best. We'll keep following your journey, mate. I'll keep pumping as much as I can, and we'll try and raise some money for a well-earned charity, but you go and get them, mate. Don't blink, don't shirk. You go and get them, and you go and get it done.
Thanks, mate. Love your support.
Charles Bryce there. That's CharlesBrice.com.au. We'll put a link up with one of our chats, with the chat on our socials. I'll certainly put it up on my socials. But you reckon you've had a bad day, or you reckon that you've got a challenge or something in front of you. I just thought that maybe towards the end of the week, and we're running into spring, people are worried about what they're going to wear to race meetings, or they're worried about what level of hospitality you're using at a race meeting. I'm only trying to put something in context here to what we talk about here on a regular basis. But that's a young man that decided to essentially put a cause and a charity on his shoulders, and albeit he can move his arms, but had a horrible accident 15 years ago and has decided to just to get up and do something about it. So I couldn't be more proud to have grown up with him, but more proud of what he's doing. So if you do have a winner on the weekend, I'm going to keep pushing this over the next month or two. Especially, I've got to lift my form to try and tip a few more winners. But if you do find a winner, you do have a little bit extra or something, it doesn't hurt. And if you are on the route between Perth and Sydney, go jump on the bike and go spend 2 or 3 Ks with him and have a chat to him. I can guarantee you it will change your life. Because it's a man doing inspirational things. No quadriplegic has ever done it. I don't think anyone's even attempted it. So it's a mammoth effort in front of him. Hey, couple of things. Our top 4 multi, all thanks to the team at Bet365. With Bet365 Top Tote Plus, you get the best payout across all 3 national totes. What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Dean Watling was with Rosalind Starr. Mitch Lewis, Lose Some, Win More. I was with Perel, the last at Eagle Farm, and Ben Calusi with Zoo Sensation. It's around $5.04. We've had over 500 or 600 copies on Bet365. It's our Bet365 Boost Multi of the weekend. And Zachy was a little concerned. He said, this is the safest we've gone for a while. And we said, Zachy, it's all about taking you to the cleaners, son. And so we're looking forward to maybe getting a little bit of a return on it over the weekend. Hey, that's about all I've got time for this week. Mickey Gannon will be joining you on Monday morning. Wayne Hawkes will join him from the Sydney studio. Johnny O'Neill and myself will join from Darwin just for the Monday means test at the end. Mickey Gannon will take you through Tuesday, and I'll be back on deck here on Wednesday morning when I get back from the Darwin Cup. Also coming up, the Form Lounge, I'll be on from 12 until 1, which I'll have Terry Layton, Dean Watling, Mitch Abaya, Mitch Lewis, Nick McQualter as we run through the cards for the entire weekend. And don't forget too, I had Pete Anthony on for Tippers and Clippers, all thanks to the team at Ultimate Tyre Power. That episode has been loaded up on YouTube as we speak, so you can jump on and check that out. Pete had a great story about one of his great days at the races. Backed a couple at 30-1 and one at 80-1, if you don't mind. But it's also fascinating to see a bloke get a haircut who hasn't had one in 5 years, which was one of the more fascinating things I've ever seen. Can we get a trainer's report on Louis, the producer, from last night's footy training? Word is he pulled up a little lame. Re-aggravated hamstring. Season done. He's out. There's your trainer's report. He's lame and he's near 4. He's 4 to 6, he reckons. A few mates are obviously texting in here. Don't forget, if you want to get your $100 staking plan in, you can get it in pretty well right now. $100, how would you spend it over the weekend? And if you've got the biggest land or you get it right, we will have you on the show next week. So 0499 736 736. We've got a stack of them in. I think my pick out of all of them so far would have to be Gregor's. I think that's probably the one that I'm leaning towards at this stage. Exit into cash, very good at $7. Exit to Burger Rack, Aztec Steak to place. Yeah, I'm pretty keen on to Burger Rack over the weekend. Wish you all the best of luck on the punt. Be careful in Sydney, it's wet. Be careful at Pinjarra, it's wet. And don't forget, the Friday Form Panel is coming up next. I'll take you through what's happening, all the latest and greatest in the world of harness racing. Tim O'Connor, the TOC, in the seat. Thanks to the boys for the week. We'll see you all next week. See you soon.